I never know what to say on these things either. I start out really slow. I'm like a kettle. Like I slowly, and then I start getting really hyper. So just give me a while. Give me 10 minutes. I'll warm up. Thank you guys for coming. I know that it was like short notice, but I am supposed to be Jewel State. And she was busy. So, and since I'm shooting, Longmire shoots in Santa Fe, so I'm right down the street. Yeah, it's kind of fun. And if you don't know what it is, Longmire is the new show that's on, exactly, it's on A&E tomorrow night. I think it's on 8 o'clock here, Mountain Time. I do a striptease on a pole tomorrow night, so you will only see that once. I promise. I promise. And there's no nudity. It's just me on a pole. So, yeah. There's like certain things in life, like as an actress, you never think you're going to do. A pole was one of them. The other one was clean myself with a washcloth nude for the Chronicles of Riddick, which was fun. So that was an interesting phone call to my dad, by the way. So Dad, it's like the best news ever. Like, I booked the Chronicles of Riddick. This is like the coolest thing ever. Wow, that's great, Katie. Well, I haven't taken it yet. Why? 3 to 5 seconds of side boob. Shut up. Just kidding. 3 to 5 seconds of side boob. Are you okay with that? And he goes, well, what's the context of it? And I had to tell him, and he goes, okay, I could watch that. Okay. Because he's like a huge Chronicles of Riddick fan, so I didn't want to like ruin the movie for my dad. He'd be like, I'm nude in this. That's my daughter. So, yeah. So anyway, certain things that I was on a private plane the other day, random, because they needed me to go back to Los Angeles to do press, and I was on the plane by myself, and there were 12 seats. I don't know if you follow me on Twitter, but I was like. That was the most surreal moment of my life. I've never been on a private plane. What, are you kidding? Like, I'm like from a small town in Oregon, like on a huge private plane, 12 seats by myself, sitting in every single seat. Like, taking pictures. And then I had to go to the bathroom. And I'm on a plane completely by myself. And I walk back, and I'm walking to the bathroom. And there's no toilet. And I'm like, where's the toilet? And I didn't want to ask them because, like, of course I've been on many private planes before. Like, excuse me, Captain, I know you're busy, but where's the toilet? Can you show me? And so I'm, like, searching, and it's under, like, a seat. Like, there's, like, another seat in the back. And I lift it up, and there's a seatbelt. And I was like, am I supposed to seatbelt myself in? Like, and so I sit down, and I seatbelt myself in, and I turn. It was fantastic. I was like, I've been in every seat. But so there's certain things that you get to do in this business that I never think that I would ever do. So, and the pilot's like, if you need your bags, you can just go into the baggage thing during the flight. There's a door. I was like, I can go into the baggage compartment? Yeah. You're the only one on the plane. You can do whatever the fuck you want. So, excuse my language. I apologize. Anyway, so... There you go. That was my waking myself up story. What else? That's about it. I don't. I'll start taking questions soon, because it'll actually help me focus on something. Because I'm random right now. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Lou Diamond Phillips dressed up like a girl yesterday on set. Because, do you guys remember Dukes of Hazzard? Okay, Bo Duke, totally hot. He's like my dad's age, I don't care. He's on Longmire right now, and so Lou Diamond Phillips came out dressed like Daisy. With little cutoffs, and he tied his shirt up. And they were like posing for photos. I think it was on his Twitter page if you want to go see it. Lou has a habit of dressing up like women, which is really... I think it's fun. He's like the Filipino Mariah Carey or something. I don't even know. And all of a sudden I became Spanish. I don't even know. That was not a Filipino accent. All right, so I'm going to start answering questions to actually streamline this whole process. So anyway, thank you guys for coming. I know it was last minute. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry if you're disappointed that I'm not Jewel State. So, anyway, she and I get lumped in together quite a bit. Somebody online created fake porn shots of she and I together. I've never actually met Jewel. But the one of Trisha was worse, so it's totally fine. I said, at least that's me, and you can't tell it's me nude. Trisha, yours is hot. Like, that, it actually looks like you. It's great. So, poor Trisha. Anyway, so, yeah, let's start asking questions, because I will ramble for freak's sake ever. All right. Do you have microphones? Okay, so I guess the lady in the pigtails with the red hair.
I'm the one holding the microphone.
Yes.
So
no. I know
choose
that's
one of them.
Yeah. No, I was sorry. This is what happens when you're exhausted. I was telling you guys that that's where you should go. It didn't come out that way though. Oh, and there's one over here. Okay. So somebody ask a question so I don't ramble forever.
How's it going?
That's a good question.
Thank you. First, I'd like to say that you're absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
But my friend John here absolutely loves you. Stand up, John. Thank you.
I met John. They have a restaurant in Santa Fe. I remember. Okay. Hi.
Is it?
Hey, you know what? This room is actually really small. Why don't you guys just stand up and yell your questions? Like if you... Oh, you have to record them. Okay, don't stand up and yell your question. This is my whole Q&A is just randomness. Hi.
Hi, Katie.
Okay.
Over
Hi.
Here. Hi. I stumbled across a webpage of yours, the Acting Outlaws.
Yeah.
You and Trisha. I was wondering, did you get to do the Van Buren sisters ride?
For those of you who don't know, Trisha Helfer is my best friend, and we have started a company called the Acting Outlaws, and we tried to make ourselves a motorcycle gang, and then we realized that you had to get permission from the Hells Angels, and we thought that was too hard, so we just created a company instead. Trisha and I did a ride last year. The reason that we formed the company was somebody had told us about the Van Buren sisters. Long story short, in 1916, they were the first two women to ride motorcycles across the country to prove that women could be relief mail couriers in the military. And they applied twice to the military, and they were denied. Because the military said that women didn't have the strength or stamina to be mail couriers on motorcycles. So the Van Buren sisters rode cross country to prove that they could do it. They got to San Francisco the day they said they were going to get there, which in 1916 is a huge feat. Applied, were still denied. Just amazing, amazing women. And so Trisha and I were going to recreate the ride and raise money for a military charity. The ride was such a huge ride that we got sidelined when the Gulf spill happened because my boyfriend, her husband are both from New Orleans. And so we did another ride called the La La Ride, which was Los Angeles to Louisiana. We rode on motorcycles and raised money for the Gulf Restoration Network for the cleanup of the Gulf, and shot it as a documentary, and it comes out next week, actually. It's really cool. So it's on. If you go to actingoutlaws.org, you can just it's an online download for the documentary, and it's just basically an hour look at our trip, basically. And we're doing another one this year that will benefit wounded warriors. So it's pretty cool. But that's Acting Outlaws. So we haven't done the Van Buren story yet, but it's on the list. It's just a huge ride. It's a huge ride. So.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, I have 2 questions for you.
Oh, fantastic.
Awesome. Okay, so the first question's a 2-part question. What was I know, I'm cheating. I'm a
So you have
cheater.
3 questions. Let's be
yeah,
honest.
it's totally cheating, yeah. So the first question is, what was the best thing you ever did on Battlestar? And then what was the hardest thing for you to do on Battlestar?
Oh my God. The best thing. I had so much fun. We called it the dollhouse when Leoben was holding Starbuck. I had so much fun with that because I got to go crazy. Like Starbuck was a little insane in there, and that was kind of the beginning of the end for her. Like she started to really kind of lose her stuff after that. So I loved doing that. Working with Callum is kind of the coolest thing in the world because he's so amazing. The hardest thing I ever had to do was the last, the last 3 days of shooting, we had 3 different units. And so we were getting about an hour of sleep because what they would do is they would work you for 12 hours on one unit and then they'd throw you onto the other unit. So for the last 3 days, I think we worked about 5 days straight pretty much. And so when we wrapped, there's a picture of me actually, a Fernie blanket. Do you know those moving blankets that moving companies use? The film industry uses those for other reasons, but they're called Fernie blankets. And I was asleep on a Fernie blanket with my machine gun under my head. And it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and everyone was like, "We're gonna have to get Katie out of here." So, and that was great. And then the other one was when we were looking for the Arrow of Apollo, and it was raining on the mountainside. I got pneumonia, and because I got hypothermia, and so that was pretty. And I had to keep working, so it was a pretty interesting moment when they were worried when I stopped shaking. They were like, all of a sudden, all these medics like swarmed me and like pulled me into a trailer. So it was pretty scary, and I was sick for about a month. Aww. So it was crazy. But so those are the best and the hardest, I guess. And then there's so many moments that I forget. You know, like I wish that I could go back. I wish I'd kept a diary when we were shooting, because there's so many moments that I've forgotten from Battlestar that were just phenomenal at the time, and I don't remember them until somebody reminds me. You know. But it was just such a great show. It was really great.
And then your favorite place in New Mexico, Albuquerque, Santa Fe?
Okay. I think for the first 2 months I was here, I was like, where is water? Like... Because, like, the most water I saw was, like, in my bathtub. And I was like, I'm raised at sea level, like, live at sea level, like house in New Orleans below sea level. Like, everything of my life is, like, at sea. And so I got here and was like bloody nose. Like, it was horrible. I mean, that's a bit too much information. Sorry about that. But, so as soon as we got to Pecos and I saw the river, I was like, oh my God, can I go swimming? They were like, no, Katie, you can't go swimming. I was like, can I fish? Can I do anything? So they got me a fishing pole, and I was fishing during lunch in the Pecos River, and that was my favorite day. It was kind of cool. So I love it up there, actually.
So next question, over here.
Oh, hi.
Hi. So I work security at Garson for you guys for Longmire. So love what you're doing with that. Can't wait to see it. But also your cameo appearance on Big Bang Theory. What was it like working with all those guys?
Yeah, it's really fun. You know, Chuck Lorre is a friend of mine, and when I went to, it's actually a funny story. So Trisha and I can't do anything live without taking shots of tequila, because we're really not good in public. We get really, really nervous. And so she was doing her guest appearance or her reoccurring, I guess she did a couple episodes on 2.5 Men, and she was going live in front of the audience. And she's panicked because I'm not there yet with her mini bottles of tequila. And I'm stuck in LA traffic, and I'm calling Chuck Lorre, who I'd never met. Put me through to Chuck Lorre. They're putting me through. Chuck, Katie Sackhoff. Who? Katie Sackhoff. Starbuck, Battlestar Galactica. Trisha Helfer's best friend. She's getting ready to shoot. Can you slow things down, please? I know you're going live, but she needs tequila. And so that was kind of the start of our friendship. He's like, I'll do the best I can. And I get there, and Trisha just like grabs the tequila and slams the door and goes, you have to leave. I don't want you to see this. And it's like, I just drove for 2 hours to drink with my best friend and watch her, do the Big Bang, or the 2.5 Men, and she kicked me out of a trailer. So, and she was great. But, and then on the way out to the car, Chuck Lorre was like, would you do, Big Bang Theory, like, as yourself? And I was like, only if I can be number 6 to Wolowitz. Because Trisha was on my mind, and I was like, because I was just with her, and I was like, I could be Wolowitz's number 6. And he goes, how do you feel about nudity in a bathtub? And I was like, I'm in. So that's kind of how that came up. But, and it was so funny because, like, those bubbles are like, do you know what foam parties are? Like in Mexico, foam parties where like they fill a room with foam. People die in foam parties. Like you lose people and you can't find them for weeks in foam parties. That was the foam that was in that bathtub. So there's no water. It was just the bubbles. And I kept sliding down and like feet were going places and we were like, oh, sorry about that. And so we had to push our feet up against each other so we wouldn't slide down into the bubbles. And it was quite interesting. And at one point, like I felt something, and he goes, "Sorry, that was my foot." And I was like, "Really?" Because it was like, I fell really, like I went down. I was like, "Your foot is not up there." He's like, "I'm Indian style." So it was pretty funny. We had a really good time. And then working with George was so funny in the next episode because George is just like. George Takei is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my entire life. And the best part was that he and I had both stolen our wardrobe. So they were like, we should have you wear your wardrobe. I wonder how we get that. And George and I were like, oh, I have mine. Oh, me too. And I got a phone call from Universal after it aired, and they went, we're so happy we found your flight suit. Because when the last day was filming, that day where no one was sleeping and like everyone was exhausted, where no one was paying attention, I took off my flight suit and I put it in a cooler and I walked to my car. With my gun belt, my helmet, the whole thing, in the car, laughing. It was really funny. It was actually really funny. So, anyway.
Hi, Katie.
Hi.
I'm over here.
Oh, hi.
Sorry. Starbuck's character was so unusual, so complex. I'd argue we don't see a lot of women like that in TV or film.
Right.
What's it been like looking for roles since that role?
It's been weird. My character in 24 was really tough, but okay, seriously? On the count of 3, we're screaming as loud as we can. You should turn my mic down, because I'm going to scream in 2 seconds. Ready? It's going to be like a wave. Through the wall. Volume and diction through the wall. Okay, ready? Just scream. 1, 2, wait, scream on after 3. Like I'll get to 3. Okay. You should say so, say we all. We'll scream and then say so. We'll do twice. So 1, 2, 3, scream. Okay. 1, 2, 3. It's Kevin Sorbo, and he's like taking his shirt off or something. No, it's been difficult to find roles for strong women because they just don't write them that much, and so it's been a while. It's taken a while for me to find the characters that I've actually really liked, and then also when you don't, I did 2 pilots that never came out, and those characters were great too, and I think I'm gonna put them on my website so everyone can see them at some point, just because I don't know if I could be sued or what, but and then there's also a couple of things that I've done that haven't come out yet, so people kind of think you've disappeared, and then you've just got a bunch of stuff in the can waiting to come out. So there are strong women out there, but it's really hard. Not like Starbuck. That whole show and that character were like a once in a lifetime thing, and so you can't look for the same thing, you just have to find different, because I tried to find the same thing for a long time or something that was very similar, and it just doesn't work. I couldn't, So, but this new character is really fun. And my best girlfriend is actually Sicilian from New York, and one of my best girlfriends. And so my character, Victoria Moretti, kind of modeled her after my best friend because I'm obviously not Italian. But it's you can find them. It's just harder, you know, and everyone wants them, you know. So it's harder to kind of fight for them. You have because everyone goes after the same role. So see, he is taking his clothes off. I knew it. I knew it.
Hey, Katie.
Hi.
Hey, I was a big fan of 24, and your character was Dana Walsh, right?
Yeah.
I thought you did a great job on that, and then
Thank you.
wanted to know what was it like with your time with 24? What was any different than like Battlestar? And how was the whole atmosphere for that?
It was different. You know, I had I'd gotten really sick right after Battlestar and right before 24, and so I call it I got a little bit of cancer. So they took my thyroid out, and then about a month later, I started working on 24. So I was really tired when I started working there. But Kiefer has the best schedule in this business, or he had, and they would block shoot 2 episodes at a time. So I only worked like a week a month, and it looks like I was there constantly, and I never worked. Like I'd get paychecks in the mail and be like, oh, that's right, I have a job. I totally forgot I had a job. So, but it was great. Freddie Prinze Jr. and I are still really good friends. Who's from New Mexico. Love him to death. And so, you know, you take different things from every job, you know, and so from that, I formed some friendships and pretty awesome. So my hairdresser on Longmire was the hairdresser on 24. So you also steal people and take them with you. So.
Hi. There's a picture of you and Dirk Benedict in a Starbucks smoking cigars. What's the story behind that picture? Because we know he didn't really like the reboot.
Yeah. I don't really like him. Sci-Fi did that, and I think they might have paid him. But it was Starbucks at Starbucks. And it was before the pilot had even come out, so no one had even seen the miniseries yet. And it was before he'd written the article about Save Starbucks Genitalia. And I think it's hysterical. They actually wrote him in as a character, and when that came out, I told him I wouldn't work with him. And so they hired Richard instead. Yeah, because it was, you know, I mean. I understand having this kind of ownership over a character. You know, we didn't own the rights to the feature-length Battlestar, so they're creating a new Battlestar Galactica right now in Starbucks and Mannequin. So I understand what it feels like to want to like hold something that you feel like you created, but at the same time, like, don't be rude. Like you can say that you know that something isn't your cup of tea, but you don't need to verbally like attack another actor or another person. I think it's really wrong, and it says a lot about your character. So, you know, and Richard Hatch is one of the loveliest people I've ever met in my entire life. They're like doing a scream off. So Richard Hatch is one of the like sweetest, most lovely people I've ever met, and it was like the best decision that we ever made, and he brought so much to it, and like he was upset, you know, he wanted to do his own Battlestar Galactica, but he never once said anything negative about our show. He just said, good for them, I'm still going to try and do my thing. And it turned into this other thing. I mean, he was just lovely, and he's fantastic, you know. So it was a fun moment. You know, and I'm glad that I have photos of it and everything, because at the time, like, I didn't realize that he didn't like us. So it was kind of nice, like, to have that moment without really knowing what he was thinking, you know? So, because I have the picture on my wall, because I think it's funny. But, you know, sorry, my voice is so crazy. I don't know what's going on. I worked late last night. So it was a funny moment, and I'm glad we have it, because it was a great idea. So I'm sure he regrets being a mean person. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. I turned into a brat for a second.
I was going to ask, the original Battlestar Galactica, when it aired, Starbuck was a male, as we know.
Right.
And then when you transferred to the reboot of the series, the character was a female. So what was it like filling his shoes, trying to, make the character your own character
Right.
versus retaining some of the qualities of the old show to, keep it in line with what the fan base wanted, and because it really polarized the fan base when it happened.
Yeah,
So-
no, I never, I don't, I didn't know that it was a man when I took the role. I had no idea. I'd never seen the show. I was born in 1980, so it wasn't even in reruns when I was a kid, so I never had seen it. And I made a choice to never watch the original series. So I don't know what Dirk did. I've seen one episode and I turned it off. And just because I wanted to see what it was like, but I didn't have a desire to watch it. Nothing against it. Like it wasn't that I turned it off because I didn't like it. I turned it off because I just wanted to see what it looked like. So I never tried to give the fans what they wanted, because I made the mistake of going on the blogs when I first got the role, and I was getting death threats. Like, it was really bad. I mean, death threats, like, to my house. Like, people were finding out where I lived, and I got booed at Comic-Con the first year. Like, so it was really bad. So I don't think I ever made a decision to try and be what anyone wanted me to be. I just kind of decided to make her my own and have fun, because when it first came out, if you watch the pilot, I actually acted a bit more masculine than I did in the rest of the series. And that was my own insecurity, because when I had found out that it was a man and that the fans hated me, I was like, well, then she's got to be masculine. And so I made her overly masculine in the pilot, and I watched it, and I was like, that's not right. So I stopped caring what people said and just kind of decided to just focus and do the work. Ultimately, I think it turned out to be an even more masculine character without trying to be masculine, because I think if you watch the pilot, it's just childish almost, because I was trying so hard. So it was fun. It was, but I'm glad I didn't go back and watch it, because I would have been trying to do what he did, I just kind of, and so I'm glad I didn't watch it. I'm sure I'll go back and watch it at some point, but yeah.
And you can say how much better you were.
I like to say that he was more feminine than I was. That's just me being mean. Sorry. That's just me being... I'm just kidding. They're doing that Screamy contest thingy. I think they have to be. Unless everyone's nude over there. It's Kevin Smith. I'm just kidding. He's actually with my boyfriend right now. Hi. Oh my gosh. Okay. Next question. Hi, sorry.
What was it like working with Vin Diesel in the new Riddick movie that's coming out?
It was fantastic. I play a character named Doll, who's a Nordic bounty hunter. So she's German, and she's kind of like, she's the hardest character I've ever played. Like, this is a woman that, like, I mean, Starbuck was like still a woman, and she was feminine, and she, like, slept with men, and like was really, there were girly moments with Starbuck where she was very feminine. And Doll is the opposite of that. Doll is everything that you think a man is, but she's a woman. I mean, she just is really, really masculine. And
Does this one work?
Huh?
This one sort of works.
Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. Right? I knew that God was a woman. I knew. But so she was really masculine, and so there's this moment where I was working out a lot, and my arms were getting really big, and they were like, "Can." And they were like, they were like, Katie, can you stop working out? Your arms are getting bigger than the guys. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. So, but it was great. Vin is right? Ooh. I feel like a whale. So working with Vin was awesome. Vin is... Do we have any idea what that is? It's fantastic. Right? I'm so tired that I don't even know what I'm saying, and now I don't know what's going on. Like, this is one of those moments where I'll say anything because I'm so tired. So, was that? Oh, that was someone talking. I was like, what is that? This is when my blonde moments come out. Vin is awesome. Vin is fantastic. It was 3 months in Montreal with me and 9 guys. And the guys are like hyenas. You know, they're like pack animals. And if you're like the one woman around, they will either eat you, or you have to prove that you're just as tough as they are, like on the first day, or they'll just like on a movie set anywhere, they will just like eat at you and eat at you and eat at you, just because that's what, sorry boys, that's what men do. They drive us crazy. And so on day one, we were sitting at the lunch table and the guys were being wildly inappropriate. I mean, like saying things that you wouldn't say around most men, and they were saying them around, not Vin wasn't there, but like the other cast was saying things that like were so inappropriate. And I was like eating my food, and in my head I'm thinking, I'm a girl. Like, did they forget? And so I'm eating, and they're talking about, there's children in here, right? Okay, so they were talking about their, the size of their manhood, and like what to do with it, and how much they were utilizing it away from their significant others in their hotel rooms. Does that make sense? And so I turned around and said something as wildly inappropriate, just off the top of my head, and I said that I had to stop because I was going to burn it off. I wanted to be inappropriate, so they would be like, I'm sorry. Like, they had no idea what I just said. And then I started eating. Like, I didn't even say anything, and they never once talked about anything dirty in front of me ever again. They just, like, in that moment, they were like, and we're done. And from that moment on, they treated me like their little sister. They were like, Katie, don't swear in front of Katie. Like, don't. She's going to say something really inappropriate. So it was one of those moments where I said something, I outdid them. And it wasn't even true, but I outdid them. So it was one of those moments. That's what it's like working with a bunch of boys. So, and it's fun. But it's like, and I grew up with a brother, so I kind of know, I guess. But, and the movie's awesome. The movie's so cool. I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's like, I don't know if you guys watched Pitch Black and the original, the first Chronicles of Riddick, but it's a throwback stylistically and texturally to Pitch Black, and with it, like a tiny bit of the Necromonger world in it, you know. So you get that bit of stylistic, like kind of sleek looking world, but you also get the gritty kind of like, you know, feel of what the original Pitch Black was. So it's such a cool movie. I can't wait for you guys to see it. So, sorry. I can't believe I just said that in front of you guys, by the way. I'm so happy that I asked that children were here because I said it in such a weird way that no one will ever know what I was talking about.
So this is an odd one. I know it only ran for about 6 episodes or something, but how fun was playing the insane psychopath in Bionic Woman?
So much fun. The same executive producer did Bionic Woman that did Battlestar. And so when I got the role, I went in for my first day, and I think I was only in like 4 scenes in the pilot. I'm not really sure. And I went in on my first day, and they were behind and over budget, and like he didn't really want to deal with anything. So he said, "Katie, do whatever you want." And I went, "Really? Whatever you want, awesome." So I had so much fun because I felt like I owned her, you know, like I created her, I made her who she was, and because nobody told me what to do, I just kind of made her like really, really vulnerable, but also insane because the implants made her crazy, you know? And I said that on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and he was like, "She had implants?" I'm like, "Yeah, they made her crazy." He's like, "Can I see the implants?" It's pretty funny. So I had to stop calling them implants because it sounded really bad. I was like, "She had a machine implanted in her brain," instead of saying, "Well, she had her implants and they went offline." You know, it's like some crazy porno. My implants went offline. Yeah, but it was awesome. I loved it. I loved every minute of that show. It was fun.
Hi, Katie. A couple
Hi.
of quick questions for you. 3, actually. First question, after Battlestar Galactica, did you still find yourself saying frack a lot? Second question, has this been the most unusual Q&A that you've ever experienced? And I guess the third question is, when you really realized hey, I made it as an actress, did you go out and buy, a vintage Mustang? Or what was your, I made it gift to yourself?
Right? Okay. The first question. What was it? Oh, frack. Thank you. I never said frack in my normal life. I think it's because I don't have children, so I never had to like bite my tongue or anything. Because I know a lot of the other actors used it around their kids just out of habit, I say, if in front of my nephews, I say freak a lot. For some reason, I say freak. I've actually said Frank on accident once. Like I went for saying frack and then I freak and I said Frank, and my nephew was like, "Who's Frank?" So it was pretty funny. No, sadly, I don't know if that's sadly, this is not the craziest panel I've been on. Any panel with Aaron Douglas goes so far in the gutter. It's not. I mean, I did a panel with Dirk Benedict, with Richard Hatch and Aaron Douglas a month ago, where Richard admitted to having a dream about me the night before, where he actually like we got it on. And I was sitting there listening to this, like so embarrassed because he's like sitting right next to me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And he's like, "And it was great, and she was great," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What'd I do? Like, was I really that really good?" And then Aaron was telling a story about how I destroyed his childhood by telling him that the planes weren't real. Because he was in the plane and he's like, "We can take the planes, right? Like, do you want to sit in it? Can we take it? Like, can we go out in it?" And Aaron's like, "We're not allowed to go out in them right now because only the pilots can fly them." And then he comes to me, and I guess I had done something like, I don't know what I did, but in that moment, I was like, I think there was like, my food was in there left over or something, and I just like jumped in, and like the wing like fell off, or I don't even know what it was. But I guess it like, his son was like, wouldn't talk to him for like a week because he thought the show was real. So, but anyways, so panels with Aaron Douglas go insane. And then did I realize when I made it as an actress, I started acting when I was 15, and Longmire is actually my 9th series, which is so weird to me. It's just the weirdest thing to realize that you've been doing something for more than half your life, So when I first started, it wasn't really my money. Like, it was my money, but like my parents had a hold of it And it's not like they did anything, but they put it in a bank account. Like I wasn't allowed to spend it. It like sat there. And then I went to do the education of Max Bickford in New York with Richard Dreyfuss. Oh my gosh. Best words of wisdom ever. Peter O'Toole, Lawrence of Arabia, right? Awesome. Love him to death. He told me the best advice ever. And I thought, oh my gosh, like these Oscar winners are giving me advice. This is the best thing ever. And he said, never shit where you eat and never fuck a fan. So I have told Aaron Douglas this many times. And he doesn't listen. He's married now. So that was Peter O'Toole's. Anyway, so after education of Max Bickford, I spent all my money. Like 20 years old, living in New York City. I'd never been to New York before, and then I moved there for the show. I spent every dime I made because I had no idea. Like, I was just kind of like, wow, I didn't realize that I was going to take home a fifth of my paycheck because I had to pay everybody. So it was like, I, came home and was like, wow, what if I never get a job again? And I didn't even buy anything specific. I just bought stupid stuff that like 20-year-olds buy, like clothes. And I didn't buy a car because I was in New York. And then I came back, and then the next job I got was Battlestar when I was 21. And I was terrified to spend any money because I was like, I can't lose this money again. And so when I was 25, I bought a Land Rover Defender because I'd wanted it since I was 15. Like the Tonka truck looking yellow car? So I still have that. But it was a 1994, so it wasn't that expensive. It was just, I've never owned a new car. So I don't know. And then my house. But, I don't know. I'm so scared that it's all going to end tomorrow. So I kind of save it all, So I'm sorry that's not interesting. Like, I bought a plane. I bought the Viper.
Hi.
Seriously. Hi.
Oh, okay. So, if it all ended tomorrow, is there anything else that you would ever want to do if you weren't an actress, like a super secret dream job, or if it did all end tomorrow, what would you do with the rest of your life?
I actually moved to California to be a singer, not to be an actress. And I started in musical theater, so I always kind of wanted to get into music. I just started learning how to play the mandolin. I'm really excited. And I don't think I would ever do it as a career just because it's, I don't know, I wouldn't want to try something that's that insane, to get into the music business. I always wanted to be a party planner. Really? Yeah, I'm obsessed with weddings. I watch Say Yes to the Dress. I make my boyfriend watch Say Yes to the Dress. He knows more about Tool than he ever wanted to know. Like, he's like a closet gay man now, even though he's straight. It's pretty funny, actually. And so I would love to be a party planner, to be honest. And that's probably what I would do if it ended tomorrow. So I think I probably will retire at a certain point before my time. Just, it's every job I've had after that first job, like I wanted to be an actress so bad, but I never dreamed that people would actually give me the opportunity to do it. I knew I could do it. So I always kind of had this finite idea in my head that I wouldn't do it forever. And so I think that I probably will. When I decide to have children, I'll probably start the next chapter of my life and try something different. So, I don't know. So I have tons of wedding books in my car. It's ridiculous. You'd think I was planning my own wedding. It's obnoxious.
Hi. Can I ask you what it was like to work with Edward James Olmos, and possibly who's your favorite character on Battlestar?
On Battlestar? Eddie Olmos is like a dad to all of us. He was, he came into that show hands down with the most experience out of everyone on that show, like even Mary. And he just became this like caregiver to every single person on that show. Like if you had a problem, you went to Eddie. and he was amazing. He's such a nice person, you know, and such a giving person. And I love him. He's awesome. And my favorite character was Baltar, like hands down. Loved him, yeah. James Callis was phenomenal. He's just such a good actor, you know, like such a really, really good actor. And I could watch him work forever. He's really, really great. So.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
Hi. So one of the things that I was always upset about with the show is the way your character ended.
Mm-hmm.
So were you upset about that? And any funny memories of how your character ended? And were you like, what?
Yeah. I have said that I think that the writers, I think that we were kind of like, I don't even know how it happened that we were ending. I think that everyone kind of like was flying home a lot more, and they kind of saw that everyone was like going home to see their families a bit more, and I think the writers were getting tired. I think everyone was kind of like, you know, maybe we should pull back a little bit and maybe end. I think we could have probably gone for another season. But I actually liked the ending because I think that, in my opinion, and this is what was so great about Starbuck, I think everyone has a different opinion about what happened to her. I think that the writers kind of, I think that had they had another year with her, they would have been able to explain what she was a little bit more. But I still don't know what she was. No one's ever told me. So I don't know if they know. And so I've said that they wrote themselves into a corner, not in a bad way, just in a what do we do? You know, like we only have 3 episodes now. How do we wrap this up? When we have Battlestar Galactica was one of the biggest casts I've ever seen in my entire life. We had like 59 regular characters. It was crazy. And so they were wrapping everyone up, and I just don't think they had the time to figure out what Starbuck was and to adequately, or maybe they chose. I don't know. That's the whole thing. I don't know. But I kind of liked it because I don't think they could have explained what she was. You know, I think that that last season went so far all over the place that I think that, and so many people have different ideas of what she was. You know, there's like mythical Greek characters that like, you know, she could have been, or like there's all these different interesting theories about what she is, but no one's ever actually come out and told me. So I'm just like you guys, like a fan of the show, trying to figure out what Starbuck was as well. So, and it's I don't know. It's weird, right? I don't know. I'm being told we have 5 minutes. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's wildly inappropriate for me to say, since I've pretty much covered the whole range of things to talk about. I've sworn a lot. I've talked about masturbation.
We all appreciate it.
So I don't, we've screamed at a wall.
Tell us more about Vic on Longmire. I really enjoyed the show. I really enjoyed it. It reminded me of a Tony Hillerman novel, only not Old and Tired. Not that Tony Hillerman's Old and Tired, but it's been like 30 novels.
Right.
So talk more about Vic. I mean, she's kind of like Starbuck a little bit, but obviously not entirely.
Yeah, you know, I actually decided to play Vic because I thought that she was the closest thing to myself that I've ever played. Which is why I liked her. She actually was based in reality. All my other characters are like these fictional characters, and Vic was actually like this real, that you could put your hands on, real person, I guess. I tried to make her as different as possible while staying true to the books. And I made her talk really fast. You know, I made her, she's got a little bit of an East Coast accent. She's just a bit, she is like every character that I've played in that she's strong and she's independent, but this character is a lot more real, I guess, than anyone I've played. I think she's funny. She's so funny. There's a line in the books. I don't know if you guys know the books, but Craig Johnson wrote the series Longmire books, and there's a series where where Longmire, the sheriff, goes to Philadelphia to solve a crime or to find his daughter or something. I've read the books, but I don't want to give it away. And and he meets Vic's mom, and there's this thing that he always says to Vic where she says, what are you doing? And he says, I'm thinking. I do that sometimes before I talk, because my character just talks, like, and says some pretty crazy stuff. And so in the books, the best line ever, and this is one of the reasons why I took the job, was this line, was when he says it to Vic's mom. He says to her, I'm thinking. I do that sometimes before I talk. And Vic's mom goes, well, if I did that, I'd never say anything. And that's who this character is. Like, that's how she was raised, in that you say everything that's on your mind and then think about it later, because everything's inappropriate. And that's the whole point. Like, well, if I thought, I wouldn't say anything. I'd talk myself out of saying anything. So it's the reason why I liked her, and I liked the family, and I liked the story, and I liked the idea of kind of getting this throwback to old westerns. You know, this very deliberate, slow pace of television. It's not that instant gratification television that we all love, of course, and we're used to. But this is very much like a throwback to old westerns. So, which I loved westerns growing up. So, you know, it's the closest I'll get to the good, the bad, and the ugly. So.
Hi, Katie.
Hi.
So if you did, if you couldn't keep your job, okay, say if you got fired tomorrow, and you couldn't get a job as a wedding planner, what else would you do?
I would probably just get pregnant and have a baby and be a mom, because that's a pretty awesome job too, and it's one that nobody can take away from you, really. So I'd probably do that. They're singing next door. It's fantastic. I have no idea what's going on. I don't even know what that song is. Oh, it's Journey. I feel like I'm in Night at the Roxbury. That's fantastic. I'm not going to sing right now because of my voice, and I have to work Monday. It's awesome. Okay, I have no idea what that was. Okay, I think that's probably my 5 minutes. Thank you guys for coming, and thank you for putting up with my craziness. I know that I speak off the cuff, and sometimes I say things that are inappropriate, and I apologize for that if I've offended you. And thank you for coming. I appreciate it very, very, very much. So thank you. Thank you.